Doodlebud. Today we are checking out this lovely pen in front of you, if I can get some focus. This was sent to me by the good folks over there at Wingback. Now they have been making mechanical pencils and pens. This is their first fountain pen. They reached out. They know I like to nitpick and review fountain pens, so they sent one over. This is currently on a Kickstarter campaign. There'll be a link down there in the description. If you're viewing this video later, check out the Wingback website. I'll have that down there as well. So if you have supported one of these on Kickstarter and are waiting to get yours, this will be a sneak peek for you. If you have no idea what this is, well, this will be something new for you. Now, I've been using the pen for about 2 weeks. I didn't know what to expect because they've never made a fountain pen before, but I gotta say, pretty good job. I really have been enjoying this pen. This is a little bit thinner than I usually like and shorter than I like, but it does open up and you post it and it becomes sort of a regular, well, yeah, it does become a regular size pen. Reminiscent of, say, something like the Muji fountain pen. I really like this pen. It's aluminum, it's got a slip cap. But one of my gripes on it was the knurling. Like, it still is a little bit slick, a little not as, not aggressive enough on the knurling, but it is aluminum as well. This job that they did on the section for the grip here, the knurling on here is absolutely perfect. This, as soon as I grabbed it, I went, yes, if anyone out there wants to put a knurled finish on a pen, let's say the back of the cap or a certain feature or right on the grip section, get yourself one of these and do exactly what they are doing. So good, in fact, I put on the microscope attachment here from my phone to give you a close-up just so you can see the work here. It is just spot on. And while we're at it, let's have a look at the laser work here of the Wingback logo on the back of the pen. Those are the details I appreciate. On the Kickstarter campaign, there is 4 different models. This is the stainless steel. There's also a brass, then there is a black steel, and also titanium. Prices vary depending on the one you want. This one here, this being the stainless steel, I think the brass is the same price as well. They are in the UK, so the prices are in pounds. It's listed for 95 pounds, which up here in Canada, they say it's about 160 bucks Canadian. Now, seeing that this is a full stainless steel pen, I think it's 303 stainless. It weighs a good bit. Now, fortunately, the way the lengths here are designed, I'll give you dimensions here in a moment, the balance is pretty much dead nuts in the middle. So it's heavy, but doesn't feel unbalanced. Let's give you a quick look here. Overall, we got 39.3 grams. Now, it's usually going to be like that because you're probably going to want to write with the pen posted. On its own, without posting it, you got 23 grams, and that is with the cartridge inside of the pen body. This is a cartridge only pen, has to do with the distribution of the dimensions. So we have a fair amount of extra material on the cap side, but that's essentially to match the back side as well. But here you go. If you go ahead and post it, you get a nice length. It's a screw to post, only a couple turns, really quick, and it fits this grip section. If the knurling wasn't so good, I wouldn't like it. If it was just like this type of finish or it was too slick, I wouldn't find this comfortable. But that grip, you don't have to worry about the sliding out. Like I said, I even showed you a close-up. Best knurling I've ever felt on a pen. This one is equipped with a Bock nib, a German-made Bock nib. One thing with Bock, I find they don't really say the nib point sizes on their nibs, or it's not easy to spot anyways. From the way this writes, I believe it's a fine. The pens are available from extra fine all the way up to double broad. Keep in mind, when you add one to your cart, I was just playing around on the Kickstarter campaign, they list double broad, but on the drop down, they put EB for extra broad. Now, to keep everything nice and sealed, we do have an O-ring up here. It's quite well done, so when you snug it down here, you feel just the right amount of friction on that O-ring. There is a little relief here at the end of the threads. We're really having focus with this pen today, but there's a little relief there to accommodate the O-ring, so that way the threads aren't coming down and mashing up and chewing up that O-ring. There's also one, if you saw really quick, on the back. I don't know if I've unscrewed this for you yet. Might be the first time. But there's an O-ring right here as well. Again, that's to keep the main body on here without coming loose, but it also allows you to eyedropper this pen. So it is cartridge only. So if you don't like disposing of your cartridges, just when it empties, rinse it out. and fill it with whatever ink you want. So you can do it that way as well. So I've done that. I have a few cartridge only pens, whereas one here, my Gravitas pocket pen, my Enso Puma, the Pocket Puma, that's a cartridge only. I love both these pens. I have no problems doing that. It just doesn't fit a converter with the dimensions. Now, it is possible maybe for if this pen does well, you could make some adjustments. You could actually keep the whole thing the same length, but if you took some from the cap, so you got excess room here, and sort of added it onto the back of the body, you might be able to fit a converter. But again, that would be for a different version down the road. But as it is right now, I'm quite happy with it. It comes with a cartridge, and my cartridge on my particular pen, don't know if this is all of them, it was installed and it was actually fully inserted. So I took the pen out, took a look at it, noticed I was getting ink on my fingers from the nib because the cartridge was in there. It was primed, ready to go, and there was no ink in the cap or anything. So this came to me all the way from the UK with a cartridge in there, pen fully inked. It was turned up there, sealed, and it wrote instantly. And there was no ink that came out of the pen. So it's already done the, I do it myself here on the desk sometimes, the airplane test with a little mini vacuum chamber I do on the desk. But they essentially did that test for me, and it passed with flying colors, so that was kind of nice. Overall, 117 millimeters. The diameter, I think this is right around 10, maybe just under. 9.8, 9.9, something like that. These are my garbage ones here. If you take off, I'm curious what the length of each of these sections here is. So the cap, let's call it 46, and then the body of the pen is probably going to be similar type of length. Let's have a look here. I'm just curious that's why the balance is there. Yeah, there we go, 46 and 46. Let's get you to the writing sample right now, because that was another thing I was happily surprised with. Again, this being their very first fountain pen, I was a little worried how well will it write, and this is probably one of, if not the smoothest box steel nibs I've ever had, or even steel nibs in general. This thing writes exceptionally well. Okay, so here we got the Wingback. I forgot to give you the dimension with the pen like this with it posted. I'm getting 137.8. My calipers are garbage, but let's just say around 138 millimeters. It's a black ink on here, Bock nib. I would say it writes like a fine, and yeah, this nib is absolutely perfect. The wetness is bang on. It's super smooth. Reverse writing, it's actually pretty decent. A little bit scratchy again, unless a nib is ground specifically to write in reverse. It's luck of the draw. But this thing has just been an absolute joy to write with. Let me do some sort of neater writing while I'm not talking. Not my best writing tonight since I'm using this small notebook, but the feedback and the smoothness of the nib is dialed in absolutely perfect. I was quite surprised when the nib hit the page for the first time. Right away I was just drawn into the pen. I thought I wouldn't really like it because it's kind of thin. I'm usually not into really thin pens. I thought, well, the weight might offset it. It was cartridge only. I got some other pens that are like that. But the writing experience has been really good. I think also due to just the construction and dimensions, the balance is quite nice. For a lot of times, like a thin, heavy pen might not be a good one. It works quite well. If you have smaller hands, you might not like it, but for me, it just sits in the cradle there of my hand quite well. As far as gripping, you go wherever you want on this pen. If you're a high gripper, low gripper, however you do your grip, this is how I do it. Yeah, that even if you are a high gripper, there is still a little bit of a machine finish. You could see it on the close-ups. I'll rub my hands on it so you can listen. So even way up here, you still have some grip. Overall, I really have been enjoying using this pen. I've been keeping it in my pocket. This is a pen that you can chuck around, use and abuse. It has eyedropper ability because this has the O-ring here. This is stainless steel. It's not going to react with anything. So if instead you would like to eyedropper this pen, it's compatible with that as well. So this is a very Subtle pen, there's obviously, you can see no clip, but the machining is really good. We have a really nice chamfers on here. No serious burrs. You do feel the threads. They're not going to cut you or anything, but you do feel them. And everything goes together quite well. So the cap threads on quite nice. Let's see how many turns this is. I almost thought it's about 3. We got 1, 2, 3. Is that 4? What? Is that 4 turns? Let me try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4 and change. It doesn't feel like that. I just reviewed a pen the other day that was 4 turns. You know, maybe it's because it's such a thin pen that when you turn it more. And so it just doesn't feel like it's that many turns. So I'm actually quite shocked. I knew it was a few, but I didn't know it was 4 turns. But because you get quite a bit of rotation because of the thin diameter, it doesn't kind of feel that way. On the back, it does feel like it's fewer turns to post it. Let me check that. 1, 2 on the back side. So if that's one improvement they could make, is just fewer turns on the front side. Because yeah, I'm quite surprised it's 4. A little size comparison. This is the Muji pen. Here we got the Wingback. This is the Good Blue L130 and the Gravitas Pocket Pen in stainless steel as well. Now here we are, same pens of course, with the caps off and posted. Place where this pen, in my opinion, has shined the best has been the writing experience. It already came inked with it on there, so it was ready to go. And it was spot on. As like I said, as the second the nib hit the page, I went, oh wow, this is quite nice. I checked the nib out and everything was bang on. I don't know if they're doing inspections on every nib that goes out the door, if I got an exceptionally good nib. I don't know what the deal is. But if this is a fair representation of the other pens that are going out, I think you'll be quite happy when you get yours. So big thanks goes out to Wingback for sending me their pen for review. I have to say, for a very first fountain pen, good job. Although they've made a lot of mechanical pencils and lots of pens as well, so they do have some experience, and it has shown on this one here as well. So hopefully this has answered questions, maybe brought a sigh of relief for those who have supported the Kickstarter campaign or those who are thinking about it. Now I've hopefully answered some of your questions, whether good or bad. Maybe now you do want it, or maybe now you don't. That's going to be your choice. Of course, I'll have a bunch of information down there in the description. What you could also do is hit the subscribe button. We'll catch you next time.